Right, hello there, and welcome back. And now we're going to be reading part 5 of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was by this time about 9 in the morning, and the first fog of the season. A great chocolate-covered pall lowered over heaven, but the wind was continually charging, routing these embattled vapours, so that as a cab crawled from street to street, Mr. Utterson beheld a marvellous number of degrees and hues of twilight. For here it would be dark, like the back end of evening, and there would be a glow of a rich, like the light of some strange conflagration. And here, for a moment, the fog would be quite broken up, and a haggard shaft of daylight would glance in between the swirling wreaths. The dismal quarter of Soho, seen under these changing glimpses, with its muddy ways and slattery passengers, and its lamps, which had never been extinguished or had been kindled afresh to combat this mournful reinvasion of darkness, seemed to the lawyer's eyes like a district of some city in a nightmare. The thoughts of his mind, besides, were of the gloomiest dye, and when he glanced at the companion of his drive, he was conscious of some touch of that terror of the law and the law's officers, which may be at times assail the most honest. As the cab drew up before the address indicated, the fog lifted a little and showed him with a dingy street in a gin palace, a low French eating hall, a shop for the rental of penny numbers and twopenny salads, many ragged children huddled in the doorways, and many women of many different nationalities passing out key in hand to have a different morning glass. And the next morning the fog settled down again upon the part, as brown as umber, and cut him off from his black, guardedly surroundings. This was the home of Henry Jekyll's favourite, of a man who was heir to £250,000 sterling. An ivory-faced and silver-haired old woman opened the door. She had a face smoothed by hypocrisy, but her manners was excellent. Yes, she said, this was Mr. Hyde's, but he was not at home. He had been in that night very late, but he had gone away again in less than an hour. There was nothing strange in that. His habits were very regular, and was very often absent. For instance, it was nearly 2 months since she had seen him till yesterday. Very well, then, we wish to see his rooms, said the lawyer. And when the woman began to declare it was impossible, I had better tell you who this person is, he added. This is Inspector Newcombe of Scotland Yard. A flash of odious joy appeared upon the woman's face. Ah, said she, he's in trouble when he is done. Mr. Utterson and the inspector exchanged glances. He doesn't seem a very popular character, observed the latter. And now, my good woman, let me in, and this gentleman have a look about us. In the whole extent of the house, which, but for the old woman, remained otherwise empty, Mr. Hyde had only used a couple of rooms, but these were furnished with luxury and good taste. A closet was filled with wine, a plate was of silver, and the napery elegant. A good picture hung upon the walls, a gift, as Utterson supposed, from Henry Jekyll, who was very much connoisseur, and the carpets were of many piles and agreeable in colour. At this moment, however, the rooms bore every mark of having been recently hurriedly ransacked. Clothes lay about the floor, with the pockets inside out. Lock-fast drawers stood open, and on the hearth there lay a pile of grey ashes, as though many papers had been burnt. From these embers the inspector disintegrated the butt end of the green cheque-book, which was recited the action of the fire, and the other half of the stick was found behind a door. And as this clinched his suspicion, the officer declared a visit to the bank, where several £1,000 were found to be lying to the murderer's credit, completed his gratification. You may depend upon it, sir, he told Mr. Hudson. I have it in my hand. He must have had lost his head, or he never would have left the stick, or above all, burnt the cheque book. Why, money's life to this. Why, money's life to this man. He has nothing to do but wait for him at the bank, and nothing to get out. The handbills. This last, however, was not so easy of accomplishment, for Mr. Hyde had numbered few familiars. Even the master of the servant maid had only seen him twice. His family could nowhere to be traced. He had never been photographed, and the few who could describe him had different widely as common observers will. Only on one point where they agreed, and that was the halting sense of unexpressed deformity with which the figurative impressed his beholders. Incident of the letter. It was late in the afternoon when Mr. Hudson found his way to Dr. Jekyll's house. When he was at once admitted by Paul and carried down by the kitchen officers and across a yard which he had once been a gardener to that building, which was indifferently known or as a laboratory or dissecting rooms. The doctor had bought the house from the heirs of a celebrated surgeon, and his own taste began rather chemical than anatomical, had changed the distinct destination of the block of the room of the garden. It was the first time that the lawyer had been received in that part of his friend's quarters, and his eyes gazed, and he eyed the dingy windowless structure with curiosity, and gazed round the distasteful sense of strangeness as he crossed the theatre, once crowded with eager students, and now lying gaunt and silent, tables laden with chemicals apparatus, the floor strewn with crates and littered with packaging straw, and the light faintly falling dimly through the foggy cupola. At the further end of a flight of stairs, mounted to a door covered with red beige, and through this Mr. Hudson was at last received into the doctor's cabinet. It was a large room fitted with glass presses, furnished among the other things with which a cheval glass and a business table looked out upon the court by three dusty windows, battered with iron. The fire burned in the grate. A lamp was lighted on the chimney shelf, for even in the house the fog began to lie thickly, and there, close up to the warmth, sat Dr. Jekyll, looking deathly sick. He did not rise to meet his visitor, but held out a cold hand and bade him welcome in a changed voice. "And now," said Mr. Hudson, as soon as Paul had left them, "you've heard the news." The doctor shuddered. They were crying it in the square, he said. "I heard them in the dining room." "One word," said the lawyer. Carew was my client, but so are you, and I want to know what I'm doing. You have not been mad enough to hide this fellow." "Utterson, I swear to God," cried the doctor. "I swear to God I will never set eyes on him again. I bid my honour to you that I am done with him in this world. It is all an end, and indeed he does not want my help. You do not know him as I do. He is safe. He is quite safe. Mark my words. He will never be heard of. He will never more be heard of." And the lawyer listened gloomily. He did not like his friend's feverish manner. "You seem pretty sure of him," said he, "and for your sake I hope you may be right. If it came to a trial, your name might appear." "I am quite sure of him," replied Jekyll. "I have grounds for certainty that I cannot share it with anyone, but there is one thing of which you may advise me. I have received a letter, and I am at a loss of whether I should show it to the police, or I should leave it in your hands. Hudson, you would judge wisely, I am sure. I have so great a trust in you." "You fear, I suppose, that it might lead to his detection?" asked the lawyer. "No," said the other. "I cannot say that. I care what becomes of Hyde? I'm quite done with him. I was thinking of my own character, which this hateful business has rather exposed. Utterson ruminated a while. He was surprised at his friend's selfishness, and yet relieved by it. Well, he said, at last, let me see the letter. The letter was written in an odd upright hand, signed Edward Hyde, and it signified briefly enough that the writer's benefactor, Dr. Jekyll, whom he had long so unworthily repaid for 1,000 generosities, need labour under no alarm for his safety, as he had means of escape on which he had placed a sure dependence. The lawyer liked his letter well enough. It put a better colour on the intimacy that he had looked for, and he blamed himself for some of the past suspicions. Have you the envelope? He asked. I burnt it, replied Jekyll, before I thought what I was about, but it bore no passmark. The note was handed in. Shall I keep this and sleep upon it? Said Utterson. I wish you to judge for me entirely, was the reply. I have lost confidence in myself. Well, I shall consider, returned the lawyer. And now one word more. It was Hyde who dictated the terms in your will about the disappearance. The doctor seemed seized with a qualm of faintness. He shut his mouth tight and nodded. I knew it, said Utterson. He meant to murder you. You had a fine escape. I've had what is far more to the purpose, returned the doctor solemnly. I've had a lesson. Oh God, Utterson, what a lesson I've had. And he covered his face for a moment with his hands. And part 6 hopefully will be next week. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm enjoying reading it. It's the first time I've read it. And so yeah, hopefully I'll see you all next week, and bye-bye for now.